The reason Jeff exists is to make other people feel comfortable with their own racism.
This point right here is the sole reason for the creation of this entire video. Because as a content creator on this app who's been lucky enough to amass 1.2 million followers doing the things that I do, I feel it is my responsibility to systematically demonstrate why the type of people like Jeff exist, and to rip the formula apart bit by bit. So here we go. Let's start with this video.
And for everyone who's talking about black excellence, black pride, black this, black that, these are black children that are acting like this. Why are we just acting like it's not happening? They broke in, partially destroyed the restaurant, were throwing stuff at the employees, ripped the cash register out from the counter, took it outside, broke it, stole all the money. Keep doing this, and then the opportunity for black Americans in these areas is going to disappear. Every single one of these children need to be punished. There needs to be a standard set that this is not acceptable, rather than, well, let's just clean up and move on. No, again, it needs to be called out, and we need to hold ourselves accountable.
I played the major points he makes for you to get a broader understanding, because on its surface, what did we just watch? It's actually a pretty elementary formula when you think about it, and it's the reason why he's able to amass over 500,000 followers. Find a video of a black person or black people doing something bad or questionable, condemn it, and tell black people we need to be condemning it.
This is sad. Are we really not better than this? This is completely and utterly disgusting. Again, it needs to be called out.
Remind us exactly why we need to be condemning it.
Keep doing this, and then the opportunity for black Americans in these areas is going to disappear.
And then offer the solution of,
we need to be better. And we need to hold ourselves accountable.
This type of content is effective because it takes things that people can clearly see, where the moral lines are usually solid, that being theft and violence is bad, and condemns the bad people for doing the bad thing. This all culminates in people believing his takes and people like him's takes are just a common sense rational response to bad behavior. And despite it appearing this way, it is actually flimsy as shit and only serves
to make other people feel comfortable with their own racism.
For example, this video. He says,
and for everyone who's talking about black excellence, black pride, these are black children that are acting like this. Why are we just acting like it's not happening?
Which paints the picture that this behavior is what black people celebrate when they talk about black excellence, or that acknowledging the good that happens in the black community must mean that we're ignorant of the bad, because at all times we must be talking about the bad. Or in this video where he says,
a lot of people will be mad about the fact that black women have a stereotype to be loud, aggressive, disrespectful, rude, and then they'll see videos like this and then they'll tell her good job and act as if it's great.
Which paints the picture that you can't blame people for forming stereotypes about an entire demographic of people because look, this one girl fit that stereotype. Or in this video where he says,
if this continues on a large enough scale, businesses will pull out of the areas. There will not be FedEx, UPS, Amazon.
Which again paints the picture that black people continue to let this happen, and the more they do, the more justified it is for corporations to not build in a particular area that has a demographic in it, because they assume that members of that demographic will rob them, which isn't systemic racism, it's just
human nature.
Now I could go on for hours because this is essentially all of his content. Now you may be wondering, but JJ, how does that serve to make people feel comfortable in their own racism? Isn't everything that he said there exactly what happened? Well, young Padawan, that's exactly the fucking problem. Let's talk about what he didn't say. He didn't say in the case of the McDonald's that got robbed that the person who stole the cash registers was arrested. So was a juvenile who's facing robbery charges. He didn't say that detectives are working using footage to identify anyone else who is responsible. He didn't say that robbery's bad and black people know that robbery's bad. He assumed that because black people don't stop to condemn the black community every day when a robbery happens, that somehow we're okay with this happening, which is the exact same logic of people who believe that Muslims should speak out every single time there's a Muslim terrorist attack. In the case of the postal worker who got robbed, he didn't say that a suspect was identified, arrested, and charged, and they're still looking for the second suspect. In the case of the girl at the graduation, he didn't wait for all the information to come out and then tell us exactly what happened. He did say that you can't get mad at people for stereotyping black women when things like this happen, when there were literal fucking black women at the school who called it out because they didn't feel the same way she did about what happened. But stereotyping all of them is just fine because one person did something wrong. Which is funny considering the whole personal accountability thing. We hold individuals to account, except for when a black person does something wrong. Then we hold the entire demographic accountable. And this serves to make people feel comfortable in their racism, because at the end of the day, he decides to blame
less than 30% of black children are born into a two-parent household, I think it is. It is on the parents to raise the children correctly. Accountability is a sign of maturity.
And the people who already have negative conceptions about black people will nod along in agreement, because it just doesn't matter that poverty is a heavy predictor of crime, and that the McDonald's that got looted was in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, a place in LA County where nearly 1 out of every 3 households makes $20,000 a year or less, which for perspective is less than an average Californian is expected to make at McDonald's. Maybe that has something to do with why they fucking stole money from the store. It doesn't matter that McDonald's, the place he said was the opportunity for the community, has some of the most people on welfare programs anyway. It doesn't matter that corporations leaving an area that has crime only perpetuates the cycle of crime, since people won't have jobs, thus they won't have money. And condemning the actions of people who rob doesn't change the fact that people still don't have jobs and still are living in poverty. It doesn't matter that black fatherlessness is created by a myriad of factors, some of which which are involuntary. It doesn't matter that low-income, never-married black dads who don't live with their kids are actually more involved in the lives of their kids than similarly situated dads of other demographics, but we receive popular media depictions of black people just choosing not to take care of their children, despite 31% of Hispanic children and 21% of white children also growing up without a father in the house. So treating black fatherlessness as one of the reasons why the black community is the way it is instead of one of the problems the black community suffers from does nothing but paint black men as irresponsible, deadbeat, and lazy. It doesn't matter that black families are already twice as likely as other demographics to use corporal punishment for the express purpose to keep their child out of trouble, which blows the doors off of the whole lack of discipline thing. It doesn't matter that black students are punished more harshly and more often for similar actions in school. So where is this talking point coming from if families and schools are both disciplining black kids? It doesn't matter that police tend to see black children as older and less innocent than white children, as young as 10 years old. Oh, did I mention that black people are over-policed? It doesn't matter that we're never told what personal accountability is, instead of just stopping everything we're doing to say for shame to people who do bad things in the black community, which does nothing but make the black community look more violent. Because him and the people who watch him don't give a fuck. It's purely hate posting about an entire demographic of people based off the actions of a few members of that demographic without actually putting in any input into workable solutions, just getting on a soapbox and saying, oh my god, I can't believe the black people aren't talking about how bad this is. To act as though him, people like him, or anything they say is serious is doing yourself a disservice. The pure vitriolic bullshit that these people say on a daily basis makes me literally sick to my stomach. So as long as I keep seeing it, I'll continue to use my platform to actually call attention to the real issues and the real discussion while exposing these idiots as the clowns they are. Good day.